So we got another Transformer Tuesday today, and due to recent events, stuff had to be pushed back in terms of the reveals and everything. But today with Transformer Tuesday, we got some pre-orders that went live today for Hasbro Pulse, and of course all the different fan partner programs and all the different companies and distribution centers. So if you are not in the United States, you do have other means of getting this product, whether it be GameStop or whatever. But a whole bunch of pre-orders have dropped today from the Studio Series flavor. Of course, the Studio Series 86 RC being probably the big one out of them that everyone is gunning for. But also we have the Studio Series 87. Now we're going past the 86. Studio Series 87 Dark of the Moon Bumblebee Deluxe Class. This is the first time that the Western world has had some reveal images of it. Obviously, the Japanese Takara Tomy side of stuff has already shown images, but this is probably the first time the Western world has seen images of this. And of course, the Sideways, the Thundercracker Voyager class, the Galvatron. We talked about these already before in the past couple of weeks. The two Voyagers in Megatron and Thundercracker are going to be released in November of 2022. Our deluxes of RC, Sideways, and the Dark of the Moon Bumblebee will be coming out next year, January 2023. Stay tuned for that. Pre-orders are up right now. But today we are going to do yet again another Transformer Slag podcast Patreon listener question. And again, if you want to be part of the Transformer Slag podcast and help support us, keep the doors open on the craziness of this hobby and everything like that, again, patreon.com/protoman, or check the pinned comment or the description below. You know the story. You've been here. You've heard it. Check it out if you want to join. And we got a great Patreon listener question from longtime patron Jesus de Carlillo. And Jesus wants to know, hello, Proto Man. I have a question that I've been pending to ask for a while now, and it's a pre-Transformers related question. With us getting more weaponizers like Slammer and Redcog, do you think we could get stuff like Powered Buggy that came with the original Diaclone Powered Convoy, aka the Diaclone Ultra Magnus figure, done in that same kind of style? I think it would perfectly fit with them. I also, in a related pre-Transformers question of that era, do you think we would get Generation Select stuff or special releases via Amazon, Target, Hasbro Pulse, or whatever, of all those other Diaclone, Micro Change, etc. colors of those characters? Or just some of them, maybe like a yellow Macross Jetfire or an Omegatron colored Omega Supreme. Thanks for being the best Transformers podcast on the internet, Jesus Prime. Well, Jesus Prime, I think I'm the best Transformers podcast in this multiverse, but rumor has it in the other multiverse, there's a Shattered Glass Proto Man with a full head of hair that does a way better podcast than I do, but that's a whole other story. Anyways, thank you for the positive vibes and everything. So I firmly believe, like, any of that Diaclone, Microman, Dorvac, I could go on and on with any of those color variations that a lot of these characters came from. I think it's just a matter of time with a lot of them. That door opened up many years ago, and this kind of relates to our last question that we had, which is, first it was like fan recolors and fan ideas of like, Sunstorm and Road Hauler, and that door opened up with eHobby. And then Masterpiece started opening up even more with stuff like, oh, hey, let's take like Exhaust, the Marlboro's Wheeljack. Let's take, Blue Streak and turn that into a character, or Red Sunstreaker, and call that Spin Out. Like, it started opening up where, just like with Shattered Glass, where here's these repaints of pre-existing molds that we could sell again, and it's like they're brand new characters and not just a shallow repaint. And when I refer to a shallow repaint, I mean stuff like you have Mudflap, and then you got Tuner Mudflap. You got Bumblebee, and then you got Battle Damage, Final Battle, Stealth Force Bumblebee. Those are like the shallow repaints that don't really have a new character attached to it, but more so just a situational environment. But yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think that, we're already seeing, we're going to have with the Velocitron line, we're going to have a character called Burnout that is the black Diaclone colors of Skids from the Legacy mold. So I think that as time progresses and those opportunities present themselves, it would be silly for Hasbro to just leave that money on the table. Look, we already got, many iterations of exhaust now and spin out when those opportunities present themselves. Oh, here's a Sunstreaker mold. Well, now we could do blue Sunstreakers. Now we could do police Sunstreakers. Now we could do this because the history is there. The lineage is there. The people who collect and buy this stuff from Generation Selects are the older demo that are educated enough to know that that stuff exists and it sells well enough for it to justify it. And it's just a matter of time before any of those other things you mentioned will be a reality. Now, something like maybe Omegatron, because it's a Titan class and that has way more of an investment needed from Hasbro, maybe that'll be the more difficult ones. But anything in that, anything in that deluxe or even Voyager price point, it's a shoo-in. I mean, look, we got Shockwave from the Siege Shockwave. We got Gray Shockwave. We got... I'm just going to turn my head for a second. There's literally like they're covering every single thing that you could think of. And if they haven't done it yet, it will come sooner or later. Going back to the beginning of your question where you asked, do you think we'll get Powered Buggy, right? That's something where, for people that aren't familiar, Ultra Magnus, his original mold came from a Diaclone mold called Diaclone Powered Convoy, had that unique color scheme. But what we didn't get from that mold when it was ported over here to the West and even in the Japanese version of Ultra Magnus was we didn't get Powered Buggy, which just like how Optimus Prime had his own little roller companion, so did Powered Convoy, aka Ultra Magnus. He had his own little Powered Buggy, which was a little transforming dude. And I think that sooner or later there'll be a mold that could kind of justify it. When we had... I look back at some of the cliff jumpery or some of the maybe not cliff jumper, but some of the more beachcombery kind of designs. You could kind of retool them into that, and that's if they want to make that investment. Or on the flip side of it, you look at something even like some of the weaponizers, like you mentioned, like weaponizers like Slammer and Redcog or, the Centurion. You give that color scheme. Maybe put a new head sculpt on it. It could be interpreted as a Powered Buggy if you give it that color scheme. That I would see as a Generation Selects, 100%. That's something that I wouldn't see in retail because it's so obscure and the trademark and everything. If they would do a trademark, they'd probably give it some pre-existing trademark name and apply it to Power Buggy. They'd go into the trademark archive and go, what do we got? What do we got? Is there a G.I. Joe character that's going to be expiring soon? Ooh. Looks like we haven't used Roadblock in a while. Well, guess what? Powered Buggy is now Roadblock, so who knows? Who knows? It happens a lot in Transformers. There actually was, I think, 3 different cases of Roadblock used in Transformers for different characters. But the point being is, I could see that happening. I could see it totally. It just because it's money on the table. That's why, Shattered Glass is now a mainline retail thing and not just reserved to BotCon anymore, like it was in the past, because after BotCon ended, that was money on the table that could easily be done by Hasbro. Hey, here's all these built-in characters that have built-in alternate color schemes, and if we do that character's mold, we have a built-in alternate color scheme. It's only a matter of time before they're going to take that Lambor mold, that Lamborghini sideswipe, Red Alert mold that they've already repainted a million times, and repaint it into those Shattered Glass Drench colors. It's only a matter of time. It's not a matter of, if it'll happen. It's just a matter of when. And a lot of times that I tell people is the only reason why it hasn't happened yet is because, the factories only have so much space to produce so much product, to do so many runs of something in that moment. They have a schedule and they go, between March and April, we're going to be making this product, and there's only this much space of this much production to put out. And considering we're still a little bit in the world of the big V, stuff is still not functioning at full power yet either. But I could see it happening totally, 100%. Like I've said again and again, it's not a matter of if it'll happen; it's just a matter of when it'll happen. And those characters, because they're fresh and unique in terms of color scheme and everything, it's also fresh purchases for a lot of longtime fans. If you've been collecting classics, or whatever you want to call it, classics, universe, generations, whatever our flavor is now, the old chug as they used to call it, which I was never a fan of. But if you've been collecting that stuff since 2006, you want to get some fresh characters, some fresh color schemes of stuff that you haven't purchased yet. You know, you've bought Sideswipe like 4 times over. You've bought Optimus Prime 12 times over. You've, in my case, Hot Rod 1,000,000 times over. But now, hey, Shattered Glass, you know, hey, these Diaclone color schemes. Those opportunities maybe not have presented themselves in the past for people who are collecting that retail classics kind of line. So that's pretty awesome. And I dig it, and I support it, and I would like to see more of it, especially something like Powered Buggy. That's an obscure, weird one, and you could really build some fiction and infuse some, you know, character into that. And it would be cool. It would be cool. But that's what I think. Let me know what you think. I mean, would you like to see more of that? Who has not been done yet that you would like to see personally? Me personally, just me. The B-Trass line, which is where the deluxe Insecticons came from. There was an unreleased character that was a ladybug that was part of the fiction of B-Trass, but was not part of the actual toy line that came out in Japan. It only appeared in prototype stuff. I'll actually show some images in the thumbnail. But I'd love to see that ladybug get done. That'd be so cool. Another female character. And you know what Mark said, they're always looking to stick a female character in a wave of something. There's your opportunity. Get that ladybug done. But let me know what you would like to see.